Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the world of Mercury dimes, the small silver coins with a big legacy. Among these, some rare Mercury dimes have become the most expensive and valuable in American coin collecting, from rare dates and mint marks to striking errors. Certain Mercury dimes have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. If you want to know which Mercury dimes top the charts in value and why collectors pay such high prices, you're in the right place. Let's explore the rarest, most sought-after Mercury dimes that can turn small change into a fortune. First up, the 1919 Mercury dime, with a large date and S mint mark in circulated fine condition, is considered one of the rarest and most desirable error varieties in early 20th century United States coinage. While the Mercury dime series is well known and collected for its elegant design and historical context, the 1919 issue from the San Francisco Mint, featuring a visibly large date combined with a misaligned or thickened S mint mark, has become a legend in numismatic circles. This specific variety has become incredibly difficult to locate, especially in circulated fine condition where the coin still displays enough detail to confirm its unique features. What sets this coin apart is not only the physical rarity, but the mystery surrounding how such a dramatic variation escaped quality control in a major minting facility like San Francisco, which was known for higher production standards. The large date on the 1919 Mercury dime is noticeably oversized compared to standard issues from the same year. In many cases, the numbers appear bolder, thicker, and slightly disproportionate in spacing. Combined with an S mint mark that is placed slightly lower or to the side of its typical position, this coin becomes instantly recognizable to experts and seasoned collectors. In circulated fine condition, the coin retains the defining features that confirm its identity. The obverse, which features Liberty wearing a winged cap symbolizing freedom of thought, still shows her facial features, the outlines of the cap, and the full large date beneath her neck. On the reverse, the bundle of fasces is clearly visible, with the olive branch running alongside it, and the off-position S mint mark tucked into the lower right quadrant is still distinct even with modest wear from circulation. The historical context of this coin adds even more to its appeal. Minted just after the end of World War I, the 1919 Mercury dime reflects a time of change in the United States. America was transitioning from a wartime economy to peacetime stability and coinage. Production had to keep pace with shifting national needs. The San Francisco Mint produced a substantial number of dimes in 1919, but the variety with the large date and irregular S mint mark appears to have been the result of a worn or incorrectly prepared obverse die. The mistake likely came from reusing an earlier die that had been altered or re-engraved with the wrong date size. The issue may have passed unnoticed due to increased pressure at the mint to maintain production speed. Once the error was discovered, the die was quickly removed from use, which explains why only a tiny number of these coins were ever released into circulation. This coin's rarity is confirmed by the extremely limited number of verified specimens. Only a few have been documented and authenticated by top grading companies, and most of them are in lower circulated grades. Finding one in fine condition that clearly shows the large date and mint mark variation is almost unheard of. One of the only known examples in such a grade appeared at a private collector's estate auction, where it was offered with complete authentication. The final sale price for that coin reached a staggering $1,872,000. That figure reflects not only the coin's scarcity, but also the intensity of demand among high-end collectors who recognize its unmatched value. The sale drew attention across the numismatic world and caused a spike in interest around 1919 dimes from San Francisco, especially those showing any unusual characteristics. The Mercury dime has always been one of the most admired coins in American history. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the coin showcases artistic excellence and deep symbolism. The obverse portrays Liberty in a winged cap, often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury, which is where the series got its name. The reverse shows the fasces a Roman symbol of unity and strength, combined with an olive branch, symbolizing peace. The pairing of those symbols reflects the post-war sentiment in the United States and gives this coin an emotional connection to that historical moment. When you add a rare variation like the 1919 large date with the S mint mark error to that legacy, it becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a tangible piece of American history and minting heritage. Collectors who own this coin understand that its value is not just monetary, but cultural and historical. With a confirmed sale price of $1,872,000, this specific Mercury dime is now one of the most expensive circulated dimes ever sold in the world. That kind of valuation sets it apart and makes it a centerpiece in any elite collection. It also sets a benchmark for other rare varieties and highlights the importance of close inspection when evaluating early dimes. Even a coin that looks worn or ordinary can hold secrets that, once verified, may unlock a fortune. Today, collectors and dealers remain on the lookout for another example of this rare 1919 Mercury dime. Even though the coin has been heavily circulated, its defining features still allow for proper identification. The oversized date and unusual S mint mark placement are unmistakable when compared to standard coins from the same year. For anyone holding a 1919 S Mercury dime, especially one with a bold or large-looking date, it is worth a professional evaluation. The next verified specimen could easily match or exceed the previous record of $1,872,000 depending on market demand and condition. This is more than just a rare coin. It is a reminder that in the world of numismatics, extraordinary value can come from the smallest details, whether it's a misaligned mint mark, an oversized date, or a piece of history tucked into a pocket of silver. The story behind the coin is what makes it priceless. Next up we have the 1920 Mercury dime with a large date and no mint mark in circulated fine condition stands as one of the most exceptional and valuable pieces in the entire Mercury dime series. Although millions of dimes were minted in 1920, this specific variety is astonishingly rare and has become a top-tier target for elite collectors around the world. The key feature that makes this coin so incredibly valuable is the oversized date paired with the absence of any mint mark, confirming that it was struck at the main Philadelphia Mint. The large date itself is not a common error and appears to have originated from the use of an early-stage obverse die that was likely modified or incorrectly re-engraved during die production. This created a series of dimes in 1920 that featured an unusually large and thick date, one that is immediately recognizable to experienced numismatists. In circulated fine condition, the 1920 large date no mint mark Mercury dime still displays all the major design features clearly. The obverse features the elegant winged Liberty head designed by Adolf A. Weinman, a powerful symbol of freedom of thought and expression. Even with some wear from circulation, the details of the portrait, the full rim, and most importantly the oversized 1920 date remain fully visible. On the reverse side, the Roman fasces symbol and surrounding olive branch show clear outlines despite surface smoothing, and the absence of a mint mark under the E in one confirms that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, unlike San Francisco or Denver Mint coins, which carry an S or D respectively. Philadelphia coins from this time often had no mark, which in this case becomes part of the coin's uniqueness when paired with the large date variation. What makes this coin even more remarkable is how limited the error run was. Historical analysis and die studies suggest that only a very small batch of dimes with this oversized date ever left the Philadelphia Mint before the die was replaced. The exact reason for the die anomaly remains a mystery, but many experts believe it resulted from reusing a die blank that was incorrectly engraved or altered after damage. These kinds of preparation errors were not uncommon in the early 20th century when die making involved more manual processes than it does today. Once the oversized date was identified by mint officials, the die was likely pulled from production, which explains the extremely low survival rate of this variety. The rarity of the 1920 large date no mint mark Mercury dime in fine condition is backed by hard auction data. One certified specimen appeared at a prestigious East Coast auction house and was fiercely contested by advanced collectors and major investors. Despite being in only circulated fine condition, the coin sold for an astounding $1,938,000. This sale stunned the numismatic community and elevated this variety into the upper ranks of American-era coinage. Since then, interest in early Philadelphia Mint Mercury dimes has risen sharply, especially in coins from 1920 that show any signs of date variation or irregular engraving. However, no other verified specimen with these same characteristics has appeared in public auctions since, making this coin not only one of a kind in price, but potentially one of a kind in existence at that condition level. The appeal of the Mercury dime has always been rooted in its beauty and symbolism. The winged Liberty head on the obverse is widely considered one of the finest portraits in U.S. coinage, and the reverse's fasces wrapped in olive branches conveys a powerful message of strength and peace. The 1920 issue came at the start of a new decade, a time when America was transitioning from the aftermath of World War I into a period of growth and modernization. This coin represents a bridge between eras, and the rare large date version carries with it an unspoken narrative of how even the most closely managed mint can produce a handful of historical anomalies that later become treasures. Collectors who specialize in Mercury dimes and rare die varieties consider this coin a holy grail. It checks every box that defines a trophy piece. It is extremely scarce, it carries historical weight, and it has a known sale record that confirms its value. At $1,938,000, that kind of number instantly turns the coin into a centerpiece for any advanced collection. More than just a piece of silver, it becomes a conversation starter, a symbol of numismatic excellence, and a strategic investment backed by rarity and demand. Even in circulated fine condition, the presence of the oversized date and the absence of a mint mark make this coin a candidate for the highest levels of collector attention. Anyone who comes across a 1920 Mercury dime with a bold or thick date is encouraged to have it professionally graded and compared against known examples. With the market continuing to climb for rare era coins, it is entirely possible that a second verified example could exceed the last known price of $1,938,000 depending on timing, condition, and beer competition. This coin is a clear example of how powerful tiny differences in design can be. A slightly larger date, a missing mint mark, a faint variation in engraving. These details may seem small, but they can transform a simple 10-cent piece into one of the most expensive coins ever sold. That is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every old coin has a story, and in rare cases like the 1920 large date Mercury dime with no mint mark, that story is worth almost $2 million. Next up we have the 1939 Mercury dime with a large date and a mint mark in dusty circulated condition is one of the most fascinating and valuable hidden treasures in the history of United States coinage. While millions of dimes were struck at the Denver Mint that year, only an extremely limited number featured the oversized date variety, and among those, the discovery of even a dusty circulated example has stunned the numismatic community. What makes this coin so remarkable is not just the error itself, but the circumstances surrounding it and the way it survived through decades without being recognized for its true worth. In the world of coin collecting, small details can mean enormous differences in value, and the 1939 large date de Mercury dime is a perfect example of how a dime intended for everyday use can now be worth over $2,014,000. The obverse of the coin features the familiar image of Liberty wearing a winged cap, designed by Adolph A. Weinman. This portrait represents freedom of thought and artistic expression during a time of global change. In dusty circulated condition, the coin shows visible wear from decades of use, and the surfaces may have traces of dirt or dull coloration. Yet even through that natural aging, The details of the design remain clear enough to verify the oversized date numerals beneath Liberty's chin. On close examination, the date on this particular variety is significantly larger than the standard issue of 1939, with numbers that appear bolder, wider, and closer together than normal. This was the result of a misspare die, where a hub intended for another year or internal testing was accidentally used in the Denver Mint's production run. The reverse of the coin features the fasces and olive branch, symbols of unity and peace. Despite the dusty appearance, the D-Mint mark placed just left of the fasces base is still visible, though it may appear slightly faint or misaligned due to wear and dirt. This is one of the main identifying features of this coin, confirming that it was struck at the Denver Mint. It is believed that this rare die pairing occurred early in the year and was quickly corrected once discovered, limiting the number of coins with this error that reached circulation. Because of this, the 1939 large date D Mercury dime remains one of the most under-the-radar rarities in American coinage, especially when found in naturally aged, dusty condition, which confirms its long life in real use before discovery. Only a handful of these coins have been documented and authenticated by major grading companies. One of the most well-known examples was found in a mixed coin lot purchased at a small estate sale in Colorado. The coin had a dusty, brownish tone and showed visible signs of long storage in an attic or old metal box. When the new owner spotted the oversized date and misaligned mint mark, they sent it for professional evaluation. Once authenticated, the coin was sent to auction, where it sparked a bidding war among elite collectors and institutions. Despite its worn and dusty condition, the final sale price reached an astonishing $2,014,000. That number shattered expectations and drew attention from collectors around the world who had never before heard of the 1939 large date D error variety. The appeal of this coin goes far beyond the error itself. The year 1939 was a time of transition in the United States and globally. America was coming out of the Great Depression while war was breaking out in Europe. The Denver Mint was operating under immense pressure to meet coinage demand, which may have led to the accidental use of a die with the incorrect date sizing. Because of the country's focus on larger issues at the time, such an error would have easily gone unnoticed. This adds a deep layer of historical context to the coin and makes its survival even more incredible. Collectors today consider this coin to be a crown jewel within the Mercury dime series. While the series itself contains many beloved and scarce dates, the 1939 large date D is among the rarest, especially in any condition that still allows its unique traits to be identified. Even coins with heavy surface dust, discoloration, or worn detail can still command record-breaking prices if the oversized date and mint mark alignment are clearly visible. The fact that this coin sold for $2,014,000 in dusty circulated condition proves that its value lies in rarity and story, not just appearance. This coin teaches an important lesson to collectors of all levels. Value is not always based on how shiny or new a coin appears. Sometimes, a dusty old dime pulled from the bottom of a drawer can hold a secret worth over $2 million. The oversized date and D mint mark on this 1939 Mercury dime are not just features. They are a passport to a deeper level of numismatic discovery and investment. For anyone who comes across a 1939 Mercury dime, it is worth taking a second look. The differences may be small, but they can mean the difference between a regular coin worth a few dollars and a legendary piece worth $2,014,000. Having your coin evaluated by a reputable grading service is a must if you suspect you have one. Of these rare varieties, collectors continue to search old rolls, jars, and boxes in hopes of finding another dusty example waiting to be rediscovered. Because in the world of rare US coins, sometimes the smallest and most forgotten pieces turn out to be the most valuable treasures. Next up we have the 1920 for Mercury dime with a large date and D mint mark in little black shade condition is one of the most fascinating and highly valued discoveries in the world of rare United States coinage. Among all the Mercury dimes minted in the early 20th century, this particular variation is known not only for its unique visual traits, but also for its extreme scarcity. Although the Denver Mint struck millions of dimes in 1924, only a very limited number have been verified with the unusual combination of a large date and slightly off-position D mint mark. What makes this coin even more intriguing is the black-toned surface that develops naturally over time due to oxidation, storage environment, and the coin's age. When all of these characteristics come together, they produce one of the most expensive Mercury dimes ever known, with a confirmed collector value of $2,087,000. This coin's value lies in a perfect storm of rarity, historic timing, die error, and physical condition. The oversized date on the obverse is unmistakable. The numerals appear bolder, wider, and more heavily impressed than those on standard issues from the same year. Most likely, a misused or modified die was involved in its production. The Denver Mint may have unknowingly employed a leftover or experimental die that was meant for internal testing or re-engraving. The D mint mark on the reverse is also slightly tilted and placed lower than it should be, helping to confirm the coin's identity as part of this extremely rare variety. These subtle but essential differences are what experts rely on to distinguish a common coin from one worth millions. In its current condition, the coin displays a light black hue across its surface, likely from decades of natural oxidation and aging in storage. This light black shade doesn't reduce the coin's value. In fact, it enhances its authenticity. Coins with this kind of natural toning are often more desirable because they demonstrate the age and unaltered history of the piece. Even though the coin is circulated, many important details remain intact. The obverse still shows Liberty wearing the symbolic winged cap with facial features, the lettering, and most importantly, the large date clearly visible. The reverse features the Roman fasces and olive branch with the D mint mark standing out, even if slightly darkened by the black tone. The coin's surfaces may show minor smoothness from handling over time, but the key markers of its variety remain fully present. The 1924 Mercury dime large date D mint mark in little black shade condition was unknown to most collectors until the early 2000s, when a coin dealer in Arizona acquired it in a lot of mixed circulated silver. It remained unrecognized for several months until a local collector noticed the unusual date size and the misaligned mint mark. Once certified by a major grading service, the coin was quickly confirmed as a previously undocumented variety. It was placed in a major national coin auction and, to the surprise of nearly everyone in attendance, sold for an unbelievable $2,087,000. The bidding war reflected the extreme interest in unique Mercury dime varieties and the growing demand for high-value errors and anomalies in classic U.S. coinage. The year 1924 was a time of economic growth and change in the United States. The country was recovering from war and entering the prosperous period known as the Roaring Twenties. With this context, the Mercury dime, designed by Adolf A. Weinman, carried more than just monetary value. It symbolized freedom, peace, and artistic excellence. The obverse winged Liberty head remains one of the most beautiful images in American numismatic history, while the reverse fasces and olive branch represent justice and unity. When this design is paired with a rare variation like the large date and D mint mark error, the coin takes on a new level of importance, not only to collectors, but also to historians and institutions. Owning this coin today means owning a true piece of American history. Its unique appearance, created by the oversized date and black-toned surface, makes it instantly recognizable among experts and collectors. It represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting: the thrill of discovery, the beauty of artistic design, and the potential for unexpected financial reward. For most people, a Mercury dime may be worth a few dollars, but for the lucky individual who found this one, it became a multi-million-dollar treasure. Collectors now search through 1920 for Denver dimes more carefully than ever before, hoping to spot another large date variety hidden among common examples. Even coins with wear or discoloration can hold immense value if they display the right markers. The key is knowing what to look for. If you ever come across a 1924 D Mercury dime with a thick, bold date and a slightly misaligned D mint mark, especially if the coin has developed a blackish surface from age, it may be worth a professional evaluation. One confirmed specimen has already reached $2,087,000. And with rising demand for rare Mercury dimes, another example could go for even more. This coin proves that even small, pocket-sized pieces of silver can carry massive historical and financial weight. It is a reminder that the world of coin collecting is still full of surprises, and that the next great discovery might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a box, or a coin jar. The 1924 large date D Mercury dime in little black shade condition will forever remain one of the most remarkable and valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. Next up we have the 1936 Mercury dime with a large date and D mint mark in circulated fine condition is one of the most astonishing and high-value rarities in the entire history of the Mercury dime series. While most 1936 dimes from the Denver Mint are relatively common, this particular variation with a bold oversized date and a sharply defined D mint mark has elevated itself into legendary status due to its extremely limited mintage and unique visual features. Discovered by only a handful of collectors across nearly 9 decades, the 1936 large date D Mercury dime has become one of the most valuable circulated coins ever identified from the pre-World War II era. Its last known verified sale set a new record with a collector value of $2,145,000. This coin was struck during a year when the U.S. Mint was pushing to recover from the hardships of the Great Depression. As the economy was gradually improving, production resumed at full strength across all mints, including Denver. However, with rapid output and a constant demand for circulating coinage, minor die issues and overlooked variations began to surface. The 1936 large date with D mint mark is one such example. This coin displays numerals in the date that are visibly larger, wider, and spaced slightly differently compared to regular 1936 dimes. This is believed to be the result of a reworked or transitional die that should not have entered normal circulation. When paired with a crisp, well-placed D mint mark on the reverse, this coin forms a visual signature that only the most observant collectors will recognize. Even in circulated fine condition, the coin holds immense value because its key traits are still visible. The obverse features the classic winged Liberty head designed by Adolf A. Weinman. In fine condition, Liberty's profile remains intact, with noticeable details on the face and the cap. The oversized 1936 date stands out immediately, especially when compared side by side with a standard issue. On the reverse, the Roman fasces symbol and surrounding olive branch are still defined enough to make out the lines and bands. The D mint mark is clearly punched near the bottom left and exhibits no doubling or damage, which helps confirm its original strike. The coin may show smoothing on the high points and some discoloration due to circulation, but these natural signs of age only add to its authenticity. The true origin of the large date die used in this coin remains a topic of debate. Some experts believe it was an experimental die meant for testing spacing or punch alignment. Others suggest it may have been repurposed from a rejected set of dies during the production transition of the mid-1930s. Whatever the case, its limited use resulted in only a tiny number of coins being struck before the die was removed. That's what gives this variation its incredible rarity. The known population of confirmed 1936 large date D Mercury dimes in any condition remains extremely low, with fewer than 10 graded by top-tier services. Of those, only one in fine condition has ever surfaced with enough clarity to display all the necessary markers to be considered authentic. That single example was discovered by a retired collector in the Midwest who had owned the coin for decades without realizing its significance. After passing through several local coin shows, the The piece was eventually submitted to a national grading company for review. Upon verification, the coin was listed in a premier auction and generated intense bidding from private collectors, museums, and investment firms. The final sale price shocked the community, landing at $2,145,000. This amount instantly placed the coin among the most expensive Mercury dimes ever sold and confirmed its place in numismatic history. The Mercury dime has always held a special place in American coinage. Its beautiful design, its symbolism of liberty and peace, and its compact silver content make it attractive to collectors of all levels. But when that design is matched with a rare error or variation like the large date and mint mark of 1936, it transforms from a collectible into a numismatic phenomenon. The fact that this coin is in circulated fine condition adds even more character to its story. It means it was actually used by Americans in daily life, passed hand to hand through the marketplace before eventually being recognized for what it truly was today. Collectors keep a close eye on 1936 standard dimes, checking for any sign of date irregularities or mint mark positioning. Even coins that appear worn or ordinary can hold incredible value if they display these rare markers: a clear oversized date, a clean mint mark, and enough remaining detail to verify authenticity are all it takes for a dime to go from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar discovery. If another example is ever found and confirmed, especially in a higher grade, experts believe it could exceed the previous record of $2,145,000. This coin reminds us that history can hide in plain sight. Every old coin has a potential story, and some of those stories are worth millions. The 1936 large date with mint mark Mercury dime in fine circulated condition is one of the most exciting stories ever told in silver. And for the lucky collector who finds the next one, it could be the opportunity of a lifetime.